What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Espresso, and welcome back to another video here today on the channel. Today, we're going to be blasting back to Black Ops 3 for a little bit of a throwback here, but we're going to be talking about something that I feel is a little bit intriguing, a little bit interesting to take a look at, and something that is really dealing all about some unreleased DLC in Black Ops 3, or what some things that never made it into Black Ops 3 in the public realm that we can take a look at. So, this is going to be stemming off of a few things, some game code files, and a leak that at the time of it being released was something that people were like, well, maybe we should take this with a grain of salt, but it actually ended up turning out to be rather true. The majority of the things that were discussed in this leak, now over a year and a month ago, my good friend The Long Sensation put out a video discussing DLC weapons that were coming in Black Ops 3. Somebody that emailed him talking about an inside scoop that he had on some weapons coming throughout the year. That's gonna be based off of this once again, and some game file things that we can maybe see as to some future DLC weapons. But let's talk a little bit about the DLC within Black Ops 3. It started in December of 2015, right after the launch of Black Ops 3. We got some melee weapons that included like the butterfly knife. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that the brass knuckles were in there and the wrench was as well, but we got some weapons early on, and then this air quote leak, it came out from my good friend The Long Sensation, a list of DLC weapons that were going to be coming out throughout the year, and at the time there were only basically melee weapons on this list, and I'm pretty sure that that's at that point in time they were still only deciding to do melee weapons, reskins of the cosmetic combat knife and things alike. And maybe later on down the line, we know that there was some turmoil within Treyarch about the contents of DLC in supply drops. That was just a thing we covered a long while back. It wasn't anything Treyarch was too fond of, but basically they probably got strong-armed into putting full ranged weapons into the game as well as melee weapons. But at the time of this going live, January 1st, the list included knife variations, sword variations, a mace, a spear, a sledgehammer, an axe, a warhammer, a crowbar, a bat, a bowie knife, a taser, an ice axe, a shovel, a star knife, a throwable spear, a ballistic knife, a chainsaw, and nunchucks. Now, if you take a look at that at first glance, this was something that, once again, January 1st, this went live on my good friend Tom's channel. This was something that was right after the first DLC, way before the rest of it that came out in the year, and this source, once again, was probably something that we should have taken with a grain of salt, but it turned out that most of these, if not the majority of them, actually made their way into the game. Now, whether or not this person actually had ties to Treyarch and the development offices over there, or if they're just some crazy soothsayer that got a lucky guess or something similar, well, I guess it doesn't really matter because the majority of this turned out to be true, so this listing is a lot more credible than maybe some people gave it credit for at the time of it being released. So that said, what else have we not seen here? What is something that has been unreleased from this listing of melee weapons and DLC weapons in Black Ops 3? If we take a look at just this list alone, then we get a couple of things, that being a spear, a throwable spear, a sledgehammer, an ice axe, a warhammer, and a ballistic knife. A lot of people may go into the game code and say, well, you know what, the MP7 and the M27 were found in the beta of Black Ops 3. Where are those weapons? Why have they not been released? And that's something that I think is a very plausible and logical argument. Those were unreleased weapons, those were unreleased game files and assets in the game code, but I think it's also something that is important to note that these were base weapons for the builds of current weapons. Say the Pharaoh as the MP7 and the ICR as the M27. They're reskins of the base weapons that were already in the game, ported over from Black Ops 2, but didn't really make the cut here. So that one, while they are unreleased, possible DLC weapons if you want to put it that way, I don't think they're going to be coming in that sense. I think they were just base models and assets used to create other weapons in the game. But as for these other melee weapons, well, they're on the list of things that really were very possible for coming to Black Ops 3 and later turned out to come to it, but we've yet to see them. So the question is, where are they? Will they be coming in the future? And is it something that we can expect these anytime soon? If they do in fact come to DLC at any point in time, well, it could actually fit very nicely with the DLC weapon drop content that they've been pushing out every so often in Black Ops 3. They usually do about, say, 3 weapons for the melee side and 1 to 2 with the ranged weapons for the most recent drops. They started out only being melee weapons only, but as ranged weapons got thrown in there, they got a little bit pushed down, and 1 to 2 melee weapons per drop kind of replaced where they were as just full melee weapon drops. Now, this is something that it could span 1 to maybe 2 weapon drops because there are 6 here with this of the melees that are actually still listed on this air quote leak, and something that has been still yet to be seen, those being the ballistic knife, the warhammer, the spear, the throwable spear, the ice axe, the sledgehammer. Now, granted, you might be able to throw out 1 to 2 of these maybe. The ice axe could be something that maybe was reserved for Modern Warfare Remastered. We got that one, and the throwable spear maybe could be a toggleable option with a just regular spear. So that would bring it down to theoretically 4 weapons. Now, how would this work? Well, we also could see that being a full melee weapon drop at that point. 4 is right about that cap that we'd usually get, or we could see them thrown in with melee weapons that have been created specifically for this after the fact of this inside scoop information. Other weapons included the Lefty, the robot arm, the Nightbreaker, the Buzz Cut, the Prize Fighters, and so on and so forth. Weapons that were created that were not on this list, but also were melee weapons to add even more to the contents in DLC. So it's possible we could get in the future even more that were not part of this created after that, added in with, say, these different weapons like the ballistic knife, the warhammer, the spear, the sledgehammer, things like that. It would be very possible we could see it, but we also could see these coupled with ranged weapons if that were to happen. So that said, I think that's gonna wrap it up. I just want to let you guys know about this because I thought this was rather interesting. I was thinking about DLC in supply drops in Black Ops 3 as a whole, and I was like, wait a second, I feel like we're missing something here. So I looked back, and sure enough, there were definitely some things missing on this as well that I think is definitely intriguing and something that we might see here in the near future, since we are promised content all throughout 2017 within Black Ops 3, whether that be something as trivial as weapons in supply drop DLC like this, or if we get, say, a DLC 5 on the other extreme opposite end of the spectrum. Whatever it may be, though, that's gonna wrap it up. I'd love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this? Do you guys think that this is nice to add even more in? Would you guys like to see some of these coming, say like the ballistic knife or the Bowie knife in supply drops for Black Ops 3, or would you not necessarily care too much? Would you like to see some more different DLC coming in 2017 for Black Ops 3? Love to hear your thoughts, but thank you dudes so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you guys are new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing as well to stay up to date with everything Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare Mastered, COD 2017, Infinite Warfare, all that good stuff. We got you covered. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that is the best place to get connected with me here outside of YouTube. If you want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, Twitter is the best place to do so. That link is down there in the description below. But finally, if you guys want to check out either of the 2 videos on screen right now, click those to take you over to some more information regarding Call of Duty and anything we discuss in there. But thank you dudes so much for watching. My name's Unreleased. I'll see you guys later. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Take care and peace.